Glad to have you back. Now it's time to make sense of the conversation we have for you today. Now, it is a common refrain. Relationships are hard work. Fights are normal and tough patches are for the couple, for the cause, right? True as that may be, however, these platitudes can distract from legitimate causes for concern in one's social and romantic life, including signs that a relationship may be or become or always was toxic. Earlier this week, an online user, a lady, publicly laments over her boyfriend's calm behavior while stating that she wants to experience a bit of toxicity in her relationship. In the video, the lady said her boyfriend always apologized, not minding who is at fault, and when she asked him why, he said he wants the relationship to last. According to her, she hadn't cried for like 2 years since they started dating, which she said is its. According to her, she hadn't cried for like 2 years since they started dating, which she doesn't sit well, or it doesn't sit well with her. She also went on to state that he doesn't cheat, and whenever she requests his phone, he willingly submits it because he knows he has got no skeleton in his cupboard. The lady is therefore longing to experience a toxic relationship. And now joining us to make sense of this conversation, we have Femi Johnson Ayodele right here in the studio with us. Good morning, Femi, and thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Good morning.
You guys are looking amazing.
Thank you, Femi. You look sporty, you look younger than you actually are.
Well, I'm not that old.
All right, Femi, you just listened to what I read, and it's a lot of conversations, a lot of replies on social media. I'll just take some of the replies that some social media users quoted, and someone said, people think being in an abusive relationship is love. If you enjoy being abused, seek help. If you don't want a good man, there is a woman out there that deserves him. Don't change him and then leave a sour taste in his mouth for his future relationship to suffer. And now someone else said, if the guy beats you, you go run come social media to cry. Now he is calm, you still complain. This my gender confused. Well, I think this is a woman. I bet give me his number. I don't like violence. So Femi, what do you have to say about this lady longing for a man that shouts, probably would be abusive or beats her, aggressive? What do you have to say about it?
I find the story very interesting, but you must understand the genesis of, let me use this word, the genesis of this revelation. Now, we have a societal template that says, or that gives us the impression that for you to be a man, you must hide your emotions. Yeah. Men are not supposed to cry. Men are supposed to be choleric. They're supposed to exhibit that kind of strength. You know, in fact, you can't really blame this lady. There are certain factors that could have been responsible for this kind of perception. One, the societal belief that for you to be a man, you have to be hard, you have to hide your emotions, you have to be, show element of strength. And that's why most of the time you have a situation whereby there's always this figure. I was hoping, an average lady would like a man who is calm, who is cool-headed, who is kind, who is caring. But it seems to me that this lady is having another perception. And for her, you can't blame her. Maybe it's also a function of her background. If you have been in an abusive relationship before, you are surrounded by people who have been in an abusive relationship, or you grew up or grew up in that kind of background, you seem to have that perception that, okay, an ideal man should be a man who cheats. An ideal man should be a man who is abusive. So you're a function of your background, but it's also a function of choice. So I want to excuse this lady. Maybe she has been in abusive relationships, or perhaps she has been surrounded by people who have been in abusive relationships, and she thought
that shaped her thought line.
Sometimes when abnormal things go over the years, it becomes normal to some people. An average woman, you think, will like a guy who is calm, but she's saying, no, I want someone who is forceful, who is abusive, That's her own perception. And let me say this, in our society, we believe that men shouldn't cry. Mm-hmm. But the truth is, men also cry. Maybe you should tweet that. Mm-hmm. Men also cry, because men are human beings, they have emotions. Have you ever found out why most men usually hang out with their friends? Because that gives them opportunity to let out their emotions, to share their feelings. Now you have a situation where men are made to believe that you're not supposed to cry. And so if anything happens to you, you mask it, you bottle it up. And at every little provocation, the man misbehaves. You won't understand the essence of the behavior or the rationale behind the behavior. So because you bottle it up, but it's psychological also, it's psychological effort by the time you let go your emotions sometimes. But because of the societal belief that as a man, there's a template for you to be a man. You must be strong, you must hide your emotions, you must be forceful. And that's why this lady is having that impression that my ideal man should be able to exhibit all these characters.
Okay, you've, touched on several, issues and factors that could warrant such mindset. But let's delimit this now to, the scope of toxicity. At what point does a relationship, a marriage, become toxic?
Well, it becomes toxic when your well-being is threatened emotionally, physically, psychologically, in fact, mentally. You see, the essence of being in a relationship is for you to be a better person. You're looking for a friend or friendship or someone who can make you a better version of yourself, someone who can complement, might not necessarily be someone who can compete with you. But in the long run, maybe in the course of the relationship, you discover that the negative side is more than the positive side. That's a sign to tell you are in a toxic relationship. And then another sign to watch out for is more of conflicts. There are certain relationships, we are in a relationship and most of the time you guys can communicate. Your relationship is laced with conflicts all the time. Anytime you discuss, anytime you're together, it is one issue or the other. So those are signs. You see, when you're in a relationship, I think the challenge most of the time is we allow our emotions to cloud our sense of reasoning. But the truth about the difference between relationship and marriage is an eye-opener. But relationship, because you're meeting a beautiful lady, you're dating a very handsome guy, is rich, everything looks good, you're clouded by your emotions. But by the time you get married, because marriage, the realities will play out. So in the course of relationship or you're dating someone, you discover that most of the time you argue, it's always one conflict or the other, and to the extent your well-being, your peace of mind is threatened. You see, your mental wellness is threatened physically, psychologically, then that's a sign to tell you you're in the wrong relationship and it should be avoided.
Now, you mentioned earlier when you mentioned the fact that probably this lady has, for the most part of her life, had witnessed that kind of toxicity, and she's now so used to it. So the question is,
it's maybe, we're not sure.
Maybe, yeah, of course, maybe. Sure. So what are those things that really form toxicity or abuse in men that would really not let them express themselves so much? Because I want to believe that there are some men who have that masculine figure that she may be looking for, but they're not toxic. They would not abuse you mentally, physically, emotionally, and otherwise. So what are those things that could form toxicity in a relationship?
You see,
over time now.
Yeah, there's what we call personal unfulfillment. When you as a person, you're not happy, you must understand, for you to sustain a relationship, it takes two happy people to make a better relationship. But most of the time, we always have expectations from relationship. You're expecting the other person to make you happy. But as a person, you are the CEO of your own happiness. I always like that word. You're responsible for your actions, inactions, your state of mind. So most of the time, if you as a person, you are not happy, you're not having that sense of fulfillment. When you're in that relationship, you always have this feeling that you're being burdened, you're being troubled. That's why you see some people, they withdraw to themselves. There are certain people, they don't like to be in the company of other people, yet you want to be in a relationship. So these are things you work on. When you are having personal issues, you're going through some problems, it could be place of work, it could be your projects, your personal goals are not being met. These are things that brings personal fulfillment to some people, and as a result, that brings that kind of unusual or that kind of discomfort.
Comfort.
And as a result, that kind of person will not be a better partner in a relationship. Another factor could be it could be financial. Maybe as a person, you are not eating your goals, your expectations are not met, or you're expecting so much from the other party, which really happen in a relationship. You see, when you go into a relationship, people go into a relationship with the expectation of what to get